All right, folks, we're moving right along to our next presentation. Please put your headsets, get your headsets ready. WEI Anli is the Deputy Secretary General of China's Internal Combustion Engine Industry Association. We are very honored that he made the trip to come here and be with us, because obviously the Chinese automobile industry is the leader here. He's also Secretary General of the expert panel of the Methanol vehicle pilot under the Chinese Ministry of Industry and Information Technology, also known as MIIT. MIIT is the main the regulatory authority over the Chinese automobile industry. And the methanol vehicle pilot has expanded to 5 provinces. You've heard about the methanol vehicle standards, and this is moving quite quickly in China. So without further ado, Mr. Wei.
Thank you for the introduction. Before my presentation, I'd like to mention that I had another report somewhere else, and I'd like to talk about it a little bit. In China, to work on methanol, the first thing is the methanol we know is some kind of coal-based fuel, because in China we don't have oil. We only have oil. So for in chemical engineering, we use coal-based methanol. That's what we do in China. And in coal-based methanol, because of our energy structure in China, we depend like 68% by importation. So once we chose coal-based methanol, we usually use like M100 or M85 to use as our vehicle fuel. So I asked a question about Mi-15 earlier. So for the methanol fuel we use in China is high coal-based methanol. And the second background is because we depend on importation over 68%. So our gasoline usage is really high, and the diesel consumption is like 0.2 billion. So we need to resolve question about this issues in this. And in my report, I like to talk about the methanol automobiles in China. There are 3 aspects I like to talk about, because the methanol fuel in China is we have 80 million tons of production in China, so we need to release this capacity. So in this space, we conclude our early 30 years experience. We started from 2011 to do the methanol vehicle pilot. And before this, I like to mention this. It is the 8th of June 2017 in the meeting with the Chinese Vice Premier of the U.S. Energy Secretary Perry. He cited that there are 3 domains we need to work. One is the clean energy cooperation, which is in our meeting, our government mentioned that we want to promote clean energy, clean fuel vehicle, which include this clean methanol fuel. And also we mentioned that the carbon-based energy, that we want to use it in a clean way, to use the carbon fuel to transit into clean fuel and get some application from it. So for that, the carbon-based energy is coal, and the clean transition is to transfer it into methanol. And in this process, we think from coal to methanol, we can clean the CO2 by 90%. So we can also use this coal to start the electrical vehicle. So we decide to use methanol, to do methanol. And in organizing our methanol automobile pilot, we work in 10 different cities. And in the early stage, we also defined the vehicle type. So there are like mini MPV and as well as self-dumping trunk and HD bus. So we have all kinds of vehicles and also the boats that we use methanol fuel. And the first work we need to do is the data collection. So here we can see there are engine data, there are vehicle data, and there are also environment monitoring data that we can have more different emission from the methanol. And we want to know what this kind of emission, what's the impact of this emission to our environment. So we do our environment monitor in all different stations. And also we concern about human health. We have many labors to work on methanol. So we like to know how's the ethanol impaction to human health. And also we concern about the maintenance and the supplier as well as sales. So we also mentioned the fuel filling. So to transfer the station into a methanol fuel filling station, we need to know about the vibration and everything to the environment. We want to have the monitor and surveillance to it. So here we see we have over 40,000 data collected. So actually we have over billions pieces of data to analyze, and we work with our partners to do the analysis. And second is when it's about the determinant of our technology path. The first one is gasoline and methylene M100. The second is diesel M100. The third is M100. Fourth is M85. So the first one is gasoline and M100. It's mentioned by Geely Group, so I'll skip it now. Now we come to the diesel and M100. So it has been over decades that it's confirmed by our Chinese government that we use the technology to start to use the diesel methanol, because there is oxygen in methanol, so the emission is more friendly to the air. And these are the representative of the DMCC cars and also these vehicles. And here we have saving diesel for over 30%, and we can the replace rate is like over 1.47, and also we reduce the smoke emission by 60%. And the second one is M100 combustion. And for this kind here, we can see the methanol engine that we can save the diesel and use M100 instead. So in this way we use methanol more than diesel, because now we have too much gasoline now. So in this technology, the applied models are like the dumping trunk and also the bus in metropolitan area. And the third one is M85, because there are only M85 and M100 standard in China. We only have these two national standards. And this one, the characteristics is for small vehicles. So that's from east to west, from north to south, that for M100 plus gas, we use the gasoline to start the car and to use the methylene for running. So the challenge we are facing is the cold starting. So we have to do the test in low temperatures. Now we can start the car in minus 25 degrees, but we hope we can do it in middle China and ensure the safety during winter. So for the data analysis collected from the previous technology, we have some evaluating emphasis. The first one is adaptability, and we want to make sure it works. And the second one is reliability. We want to make sure it is at least as good as the conventional fuel. And then economy, safety, and environment are also we want to make sure. And here I have translated what I said in Chinese. So here we can see that we collect data from our testing and all although from our data collected, in addition to our data collection, we also insist zero tolerance. We want to make sure the methanol vehicle can be as good as conventional fuel car. And for the reliability, from our testing point, we have done 150 million kilometers. So we want to make sure the failure is lower than conventional vehicle. And in economy, we want to make sure the economy can be good enough. We want to make it 13.5 to 13.1. And so it's the comparison between methanol and gasoline. We want to make sure methanol can be satisfied. And for safety, in our environmental test, the Chinese government, the Chinese CDC, and also the Environment Monitoring Health Department, they conduct this test to make sure all the labor in our plant and also the pedestrian or the traffic police officer, to make sure this is good for human health and for environment, because there are more oxygen in methanol. We want to make because methanol has lower carbon and higher than other fuels, so the CO2 emission will be low, and the oxygen component is over like 50%. So on our diesel vehicle, even though we don't have especially post-processing equipment, it still meet our standard. So by May 2017, the total mileage of pilot over 150 million kilometers. So we know that the methanol vehicle is as good as conventional fuel vehicle in China, and the economy, if it's also economic efficient, and all the methanol we used is coal-based methanol, and in this way it's anti-collision. So we also have some study in this part to have spatial oil to it. So our future plan will start in 2017. So these are what we are going to do. The first one is the acceptance review, because there are 10 cities need to do. We have done one, and there are 9 more to go. So like in June, when I go back to China, I need to go to Shanxi. And the second one is the improving standard. It's to improve the standards of methanol automobiles, because we consider the conventional standards and try to apply it into methanol vehicle to make sure it meets the standards. So also I like to ask a question earlier, because when we transport methanol in China, we got some issues, and I like to discuss that probably later with the previous speakers. And the next one is that we like to have a methanol automobile alliance. That's our next step. And the fourth work to do is to do the research on carbon-based clean energy conservation and utilization. So we want to study on this and to get the research projects in this. And this is the emphasis. This is what the Chinese government emphasizes now. So because we consume like 4 billion of carbon every year. So we try to convert the carbon in coal into some kind of clean energy. So also probably in this part, we can have some cooperation with the states. And the next one is we are going to have a second methanol auto development forum. In our first forum, we have the speaker there talk about this topic. And if you are interested, you are more than welcome to join us. And we can also explore some cooperation opportunities. And this are the pictures. And also, the end of this year, we also have another exhibition in Shanghai. So you are also invited to China to see our methanol vehicle, that you can see how far we have we know that everybody are the smart people in this field. So I believe all this, I want to mention that there are also many smart people who work on methanol vehicles in China. So I hope you can come to China and have some interaction with them. So here we mentioned, here is it is about a book talking about the methanol economics, and us.
Of course, we hope that the next meeting, I'd like to discuss with Mr. Dolan and other people, can we change the name of this forum? The next year, I will come on behalf of MIIT. We move this meeting to Beijing, and we will have China-America meeting on methanol development, because right now we have a close cooperation with Methanol Institution regarding our pilot studies and data. So I'd like to extend my invitation to invite you all to Beijing to have this meeting. So in terms of facing the energy structure of shortage of crude, lack of gas, and abundance of coal, even if all the speakers are saying that we have abundance in shale gas, our exploitation development is high. However, what we'd like to see is to have carbon-based fuel conversion and utilization and development of methanol automobile is a key approach for the sustainable development of Chinese automobile industry, and that's what we're going to do. And also we have an expert panel of the methanol vehicle pilot. I'd like to say to the host and to the CEO of this institute, I'd like to invite you all to Beijing the next year to talk about possible cooperation in methanol. Thank you very much.
We have time for perhaps one or two brief questions. If anybody has a question. Any urgent questions?
Yes.
Go
Is methanol vehicle use in China spread throughout the country, or is it still concentrated in a few provinces, mainly in a few provinces?
Okay.
Methanol's production is all over China. Of course, big plants are mainly in the west part of China. I'd like to add something. The Chinese methanol is based on coal, and we know that China has a lot of steel, have a robust steel industry. So the derivative from the steel production can also be source of methanol. In coastal areas, we normally import methanol from Middle Eastern countries. In west areas, in coal-rich provinces like Xinjiang, Inner Mongolia, we produce methanol.
Available on our website, but one of the maps earlier showed the proliferation of methanol use across the different provinces, so you can refer to that. Does anyone else have a quick question? If you do, wave your hand, because I can't really see against the lights here. No? Okay. So with that, 谢谢. And we will go on to the next panel.